What's up guys, my name is Tony and today I'm going to give you a quick and painless guide on configuring Tmux with 0 plugins. Tmux is probably the most essential tool in my development workflow. It is a terminal multiplexer that allows you to split your terminal into multiple panes, create multiple windows, and detach and reattach sessions. In the past, I relied on TPM as a plugin manager, but taking inspiration from Henry Misk, I've decided to debloat my entire config into a plugin-less configuration. This means that I don't need to rely on any plugin manager or external plugins, and I can just use my native Tmux settings. Let's jump right into it. Super powerful thing with Tmux is the Tmux session script that I wrote, similar to Primogen's Tmux sessionizer, but it's more focused on Dmenu. And I've showed this before in other situations, but it'll instantly jump into my repos directory and I can search here, and let's say I want to mess with Ziglings. I can instantly be in a Ziglings Tmux session here. And this is nice because I can run zig build and it tells me I've failed on exercise 5. So I can jump over to this pane and open the file in Vim here and correctly fix some of these issues here. Looks like that should be correct. Hop back over here and run zig build again, and there we go. Now, if I want to hop out of here, I can just do that script again, and maybe I want to go into ceilings here. And let's do a make TUI. Now I'm in casual mode here and I'm on hello.c. And for this one, I can actually just open up a second window and do nvim dot. Looks like hello C needs to be fixed. So let's go to hello C. And yeah, I've got to fix these includes here. Change this to ceilings here. And then looks like I've got to fix this return statement. We go back over here, press S to submit, and boom, there we go. So it really helps me hop between projects very simply here. And I've even got a script that tells me which sessions I've got open, and I can just navigate through open sessions. So I can hop back between ceilings or ziglings, etc. And these are really powerful tools for me because I'm always jumping between projects and I don't want to lose where I'm at. So I've covered these scripts in a separate video, but today's video is going to be how to set up Tmux to actually use it. So let's jump right into it. All right, so I am on Arch Linux today, but again, this is going to work on literally any distro. Since we're not using any plugins, we literally just need to install Tmux, and it's in every package manager. For me, for today, I'm going to do sudo pacman-s tmux, and there we go. So to start Tmux, all we need to do is type Tmux. There we go. Look at this beautiful default Tmux config. So as I said earlier, we've got Windows, and this is our window here, Windows 0. And we've got this bar down here, which we're going to edit, but default Tmux is actually usable. So if I'm on a server and I'm using the default config, I do know how to work with it. The first pivotal keybind you're going to need to know about is the prefix key. And this is similar to NeoVim's leader key concept. By default, the prefix key is Control B. So you'll hit a prefix key and then you'll hit a key after to signal an action in Tmux. So for example here, we'll do Control B and hit C to create a second window. And now you can see we've got the first window and the second one. So here we're on window number 2, which is indexed at 1, which we'll fix later. And we'll do Control B again and go back to our first window here. So there you go. So let's zoom out here a little bit before we continue. And let's take a look at the session window pane hierarchy. Now, if we can add another pane, let's do that right now. So the default to add a pane here is going to be Control B, and we'll split this pane vertically with a % sign. We see we've got 2 panes here. And so we'll go ahead and hop over to the second window here. So now we jump back to the first one and we see we've got these 2 panes within a window. Now, in order to demonstrate the hierarchy here, I'm going to press Control B W, and this shows me that I've got this session here, which is session named 0, and it shows me I've got 2 windows attached, right? So those 2 windows are 0 and 1. So as I said before, 0 is that window where we've got 2 panes, and 1 is that window where we have just that 1 pane. So the hierarchy is a little bit confusing at first, but once you get working with it, it'll make a lot more sense. But the main thing we want to do today is clean up the config so these keybinds are actually usable and edit this bar a little bit. So let's hop back into this first window here by navigating to it with J or K and hitting enter. And let's go ahead and close one of these panes out here. Control B X and then confirm yes to kill it. All right, now so we're in window 0, we'll call it. Let's clear that out. And we need to create the config file. So we'll do make dir-p .config tmux, and we'll go ahead and open that with Vim. And we're going to create this file tmux.conf. All right, so in this tmux.conf file, let's set a couple key settings here. So first we've got the default terminal, and this is going to be set to Tmux 256 color. This tells Tmux to advertise itself as a 256 color terminal, which is essential for proper color rendering in modern terminal applications such as NeoVim. The second line here, the terminal overrides feature. This enables true color, which is the 24-bit RGB support, giving you access to more colors, which will make your color scheme look properly vibrant as needed. For set G mouse on, this is controversial in some terminal purist communities, but it's genuinely useful for when you're feeling a little bit lazy. And set clipboard on allows Tmux to integrate with your system clipboard. So once we've got these basics out of the way, let's go ahead and set some keybinds here. Now the first thing I want to do is unbind Control B and reset that to Control A, and that's that prefix. So let's go ahead and do unbind CB here for Control B, and we'll do set -G prefix CA, which is going to set it to Control A, and then we'll do bind key CA here and make that send prefix. So this little block here removes the default Control B bind, and then we've reset the prefix key to Control A, and bind key CA send prefix is going to be helpful for nested Tmux sessions. This allows us to actually send the Control A bind through the terminal. So let's go ahead and source this file here. Let's go ahead and save and quit this file here. Let's go ahead and type Tmux source file .config tmux tmux.conf. All right, so we've sourced this file here. So in theory, our prefix key should be changed, and let's test that by creating a new window here. So Control A and C here, and there you go. We have created a new window successfully with our new prefix bind. We can go ahead and close this window here with Control AX and hit yes to confirm. And now we're back to our main window here. Let's go ahead and hop back into that file here. And right now opening panes with splits is pretty awkward. It's with a percent key and with the quote key. We're gonna go ahead and change that here. We've unbinded percentage and unbinded the double quotes. And we're gonna have two binds for splitting windows. Now, for splitting windows vertically, I have opted to split them with the pipe delimiter for vertical and with the minus key for horizontal. However, that is pretty far out of reach for most people. So an alternative bind for that would be V and S. And you may be thinking, why not V and H? Well, we need H later because we need to be able to navigate through panes with Vim-like keys, H, J, K, and L. But for right now, these are going to be perfect for us. So let's go ahead and save this file here. And again, we got to quit and source it. So we'll run Tmux source file tmux.conf. And now we should be able to create pane splits here. Let's try Control A pipe. And there you go. That's a vertical split. Let's do a horizontal split here within this pane. Control A minus, and yep, there we go. So the problem now is I have enabled mouse, so I can just click the panes to go around them, but there's no really good way to navigate these. I mean, I can use the arrow keys, Control A up, Control A left, but obviously you know where I'm going with this. The next logical step is to rebind these arrow keys to the Vim-Style HJKL, which we'll do. But for right now, let's clean up some of these panes here with Control AX, and we'll go ahead and hop back into that config file here. And let's go ahead and add the Vim-Style pane navigation. So we're gonna do bind HJKL here to select the left, down, up, and right panes. And while we're in here, we have found ourselves manually sourcing the file over and over again. So let's create a bind for that. It's gonna be a reload config here. So we'll unbind R, just in case it's bind to anything else. And we'll do bind R source file. And for me, I'm gonna do home.config tmux.conf. So we can save that. And we've got the Vim-Style navigation through panes. So let's go ahead and test this. We'll save and quit this file here, and we'll source it manually one more time, but then we'll have access to that new keybind. Let's clear that. Let's test the pane navigation now. So we'll do Control AV to make a vertical split. Let's do Control AS to make that horizontal split. So now I should be able to go up with K and left with H. Let's try that out. Control AK, perfect. And then Control AH, perfect. So now I'm using Vim motions here. Within this, let's do another horizontal split here, Control AS, and now I've got a full grid here. So let's test this out. Perfect. All right, let's move on to the next step. All right, so Control A HJKL is nice, but it also helps to have a dedicated keybind to switch panes without relying on the prefix. So let's go ahead and do that here. I'm going to give you guys a tip here. If you hit Control AW, you can get the list here, and we can start killing off some of these panes pretty easily. Let's just go down to this one and hit X, yes, Go over here and hit X on this one, hit X on this, and now we've got just that one pane. All right, open up that file again here. All right, so now we're gonna add a section down here for moving panes without the prefix key. And I'm gonna bind these to meta H, meta J, meta K, meta L, and that's just alt H, J, K, L. So let's save this file here and let's leverage some tools we have here. Let's do Control A, R to source the file. And now in theory, we should be able to navigate panes with the alt key. So let's make a new pane here, Control A, V, and there we go. We're able to move left and right here with alt H and alt L. Perfect. Let's kill this pane here, Control AX, and let's add a couple more quality of life binds here and then move on to the next step. So while we're in here, let's update the base index here. Let's add some options here for the base index. So we're going to do set G base index 1, pane base index 1 as well. And the set window option base index is going to be 1 and renumbering the windows will be on. So what this is going to do is instead of starting at 0 here, we want to start at 1 because one of the keybinds to switch windows is going to be dependent on hitting the 0 key, which doesn't make sense to us because the 0 key is all the way on the right. So it should start at 1. So let's go ahead and test that out. Let's actually kill the entire session here and let's create a new one and let's name it. So we're going to do Tmux new-s for the name and we'll name it Tmux, by the way. So now you can see our session's name is Tmux, by the way, and our window is labeled 1. So if we create a new one here with Control AC, we've got a second one. It's number 2. So we can navigate back and forth between these with Control A2, Control A1, etc. because of those new options. Let's even create a third one just to make it super obvious what's going on here. And still not quite perfect. Control A1, Control A2, Control A3. It's not 100% optimal for me. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into this config file again. And we'll go on to the bottom. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add the shift arrows to switch windows. So it's going to be S left for the previous window and S right for the next window. And that's if we're feeling lazy, we can use the actual arrow keys. I don't often do this, but I keep it in because it was my first legacy way. The new and improved way I use is the alt numbers to select which window I'm looking at. And this will conflict with your window manager if you're using alt as your mod key, but I use super as my mod key. So keep that in mind. Let's save this file and let's source it. Control AR, and now we should be able to easily move between 1, 2, and 3 by pressing alt 1, 2, and 3. So that's very, very quick movement between windows. And also the shift arrow keys, if you're feeling lazy, that also works. So there we go. Let's move on to the next step. All right, let's jump back into this config file here. And let's add a section here for some Vim-style copying. So we're gonna first globally enable Vim keybinds in copy mode. And that'll allow us to navigate with J and K when we enter copy mode. And also it'll allow us to use V to enter visual selection mode. And then we've got some keybind overrides here. So inside of copy mode, we're going to have Control V basically act as a rectangular toggle, which just does visual select mode. And then Y will be our yank, and then V will be our visual mode. And we're going to unbind copy mode VI, mouse drag end one pane. And the reason I like to do this is because if this is enabled, then simply scrolling my mouse will enter copy mode. And I don't want to do that. Sometimes I need to use my mouse for other things and I want to explicitly enter copy mode only with one bind. Let's test that out and see what that looks like. Save that here. Source that file with Control AR. Let's just cat a random file here. So we'll do this random config file I've got for OXWM. And to go into copy mode, I'll do Control A left brace. And now I can move up and down with J and K here. I can also do Control U and Control D, just like Vim mode here. And this is very helpful in case you have some text in your terminal and you need to manipulate it or copy it. Let's say I want to go up here and copy just a couple. I can hit Shift V and select 3 lines and hit Y. And now it's on my keyboard. So if I go back into this comp file, if I paste it, those are those lines we copied. Now that's super useful, as you can tell, for various scenarios. Obviously we don't need those in here, but this is what really powers Tmux for me. When I'm in a situation where I need to scroll back, I just enter copy mode and then I can manipulate whatever was written into the terminal using Vim keybinds, and it really increases my workflow. All right. The last thing we need to do is clean up this bar a little bit. Now, if you're somebody who doesn't care at all, you're done right here. And this is like 63 lines with spaces. But if you want to go the extra mile here, we can just style this bar up a little bit here. Now for this bar here, I previously used to rely on this plugin that is a fork of Catpuccine Tmux from Dreams of Code. And for me, what I did was I ended up forking his fork to set it to be more aligned with Tokyo Night colors. But I've realized for this video, I don't need a plugin manager just for one plugin. So I've converted this entire status bar, if you will, to just native Tmux. And I'm going to go ahead and throw that into this file here, and I will show you what it looks like. But also for those of you who want to just copy and paste it and put it into your config, I will provide a link to my config below the subscribe button. So to first set this up, we need to declare our theme colors here. And so that's just going to be this block here. And these are the Tokyo Night colors. I've just removed pink because I don't need it. I just use red for pink. And next we're gonna set some status bar settings. So we'll have the status bar on. The background is gonna be our theme background here. So if we hit GD, we actually have access to the LSP. It goes straight to this. So that's what our background color is gonna be, is theme BG. We're gonna justify the text to the left, and we're gonna add some lengths here. Now we're also gonna set some Pane border settings. So we're going to have the border style be the foreground as theme gray, and the active border style going to be theme blue here. And for Windows, similar setup here. We're going to have the activity style set here, and we're going to make it so that there's no separator between windows. And the status style is going to be the same thing as the activity style. And for messages, we're going to set the colors here. I'm going to put cyan and gray for the foreground and background. And then when you run a command, it's going to be cyan and gray as well. So let's go ahead and see what that looks like just right now. So let's save and quit this file and clear the terminal. So Control AR, and so as you can see, the background is set to the same background as my Vim power line. And the text is a little bit unreadable, and it's not quite obvious to me which window I have selected. So we're going to make that obvious right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to set the current window on the status line to be themed as such. Now, this is a little bit ridiculous and it's not human readable, but I basically got this from that Catpuccine plugin and I edited it to my liking here. So we can save this and we'll show you what it looks like. So we went ahead and reloaded our config here with Control AR. And as you can see, the currently active window has a purple checkbox next to it, as well as it is highlighted in cyan. And for those of you who have seen my Waybar configuration or my DWM configuration, it's very similar to that, where I have a cyan text over my active window and a purple underline underneath it. So as you can see, if I move over to 2, it's very obvious that I'm on 2 if you look at the status bar. So let's clean up the inactive windows here. So for the non-active windows here, I'm going to do more or less the same format with some spaces, but I'm going to change the color and add a few spaces for padding. So we'll save and quit this file here, Control AR, and there you go. Now we can see a little bit more readable with those white spaces. All right, let's jump back into this. Let's take care of this part here. We don't need to actually see Tmux, by the way, on the left side. We want all that information on the right side, and we want it to be readable. So this is the last part here. Now, for the right side, I am going to take this line here, which was, again, from that plugin. And I've tweaked the colors here to match my color scheme. I'll just show you what it looks like. So let's save this, quit that, Control AR, and there you go. We've got the name of the session, Tmux, by the way. And then we've got the name of the window here. Just need to clear this left side, and then we're pretty much good to go. And in order to do that, all we need to do is type set-g status left empty, and it should be good to go. So let's save this, quit that, Control AR, and now we're looking pretty clean. So if we detach this session here, and let's create a new session called test session. As you can see here, we've got the test session is the name of the session, and we've got the name of the window here. Open up NeoVim, and if we go here, we actually can see what program we're in, which is NeoVim, whereas in window number 2, it just says bash. And one more thing, I don't know if you guys saw that, but if you press Control A, this turns into magenta because it lets you know that you have hit the prefix key. So if we press Control A and V, now we've created a pane. You can kill that pane with Control AX. But yeah. So that is going to be it for today's video. Now you should have a fully functional zero plugin Tmux setup that's actually maintainable and somewhat readable. No plugin managers, just pure Tmux. If you have any questions or want me to cover any additional free and open source software tools or Linux distributions, just drop a comment below and I'll put it in the pipeline. And as always, it wouldn't be a proper video without an obligatory Neofetch.